So like I said, I wanted to walk you through how to do the first one on this sheet. Numbers 1 and 2 use the same equation at the top here. This is actually the photosynthetic equation. You might remember that from bio, where plants need carbon dioxide, water, and light. There's no chemical formula for light. And they make glucose, sugar, and oxygen. So this same equation you're going to use for numbers 2. So we're going to use number 1 together. But don't forget, for number 2, you're going to use this equation. And then for number 3, it has its own equation. So I'm just going to do number 1 with you. So you could see how I like to do this and how I like to walk through these. And you can use that as a model to help you for numbers 2 and 3. And again, the answer key is online, but I don't recommend you use that to just copy from. Use that to check your work. So let's start with, always start with reading the problem first, because that gives you a sense on what they're asking you to do, what you're starting with, what information you're being given, and so on. So it says, in photosynthesis, plants use energy from the sun to produce glucose, C6H12O6, and oxygen from the reaction of carbon dioxide and water. What mass in grams of glucose is produced when 3 moles of water react with carbon dioxide? So that last sentence has a whole lot of stuff in it. We need to pick out what are they giving us and what are they asking us to do with it. So right in the beginning it says what mass in grams of glucose. So that's what we're going to be figuring out, is grams of glucose is produced when 3 moles of water react with carbon dioxide. So we're starting with 3 moles of water, and we're going to figure out how many grams of glucose that makes. So let's write out what are they giving us and what are they asking us to turn it into. So we're starting with 3.00 moles of water, right? And they're asking us to turn this into how many grams of glucose. So that's what we're trying to do. So let's take a look. We're trying to go from moles to grams. So we're changing units. And we're changing compounds. We're going from water to glucose. So we're going to need molar ratios to do that. And we're going to need to go from moles to grams, which means we're going to need molar mass of something. Maybe you already know what that is, but if you set this up and you put your unit and your formulas in there, you'll know exactly what you need, which is why I was always pushing you guys to write out your compounds, your formulas, because that helps you figure out what needs to go where. So we start with, what are they giving us? 3.00 moles of water, right? And as usual, I like to do the funky bracket thing. If you want to use parentheses, that's fine. So I know moles of water has to go down here, right? So you can't do moles of water changed into grams of water. You can't do that because there's no gram relationship between water and glucose given in this formula or given in this word problem. So you can't have 1 mole of water and its molar mass here. You can't do that because, again, there's no relationship between grams of water and grams of glucose in this formula. So this has to be a molar ratio here. We're going to be turning moles of water into moles of glucose, and we need our molar ratio from that. And our molar ratio are the coefficients in front of the compounds. So we're going to have 6 moles of water down here. And again, I'm getting that right there. It's that number. For every 6 moles of water, we're going to get 1 mole of glucose. Remember, if there's no number there, it's a 1. So you're going to do 1 mole of glucose. There. Now our moles of water will cancel. I'm not done yet because I'm in moles of glucose. I need to be in grams of glucose. So that means I have to go from moles of glucose to grams of glucose. So now I'm going to need my molar mass. So 1 mole of C6H12O6, it has a mass of 180.1548 grams of C6H12O6. And again, this is your molar mass. You get that by looking at the periodic table. Count up your 6 carbons, your 12 hydrogens, and your 6 oxygens. Moles cancel here. And then you do your math. So my calculator, I would do 3 times 1 times 180.1548. I'd hit equals. Then I'd hit divided by 6, or 6 times 1, which is 6. And you'll get 90.1 grams of C6H12O6. And that would be my answer. So that's how I worked out this particular problem. So look at number 2. I would recommend writing out what are they giving you, what are they asking you to turn it into. You will need to look at your formula because you'll need your molar mass. Your molar ratios, the numbers in front of the compounds, those coefficients. And then for number 3, you have a different reaction you're working with. So just make sure that you're taking a look at that reaction. Right? Give them a try.